We'll start reading from such a supramental being would, as we have seen. But to get the sequence and continuity, I'll read out to you in summary what he said earlier in the previous para. The pessimism of the negative paths is mostly based on the view that mind is the creator of the universe. And when he says mind, he means specifically the spiritual planes of consciousness from higher mind, element mind, intuitive mind, overmind, up to the overmind. There also you can see the physical world as unreal. Even if you don't see it as unreal, you can still feel a gap between spirit and matter. That's what Aurobindo says. Whereas that gap exists even in Shankara's philosophy. He says that the divine is here, but that gap, fundamental gap, is still there. Okay. Mind is the creator of the universe. Mayavada and Buddhism are both votaries of this theory that mind creates the universe. But if, on the other contrary, it is the supermind that creates the world, this pessimism is no longer a necessity because the world is real and supermind is involved in matter and can emerge out of it and join itself to the unmanifested supermind in its native field. So when you go to supramental level, you see that it is possible to raise matter to the supramental level. And you see the involvement of supermind in matter. So, the principle of division in matter has its origin in mind. Mind conceives, originates life force, executes the principle of division, and its culmination ends in matter. But mind, the creator of division, plunges itself into matter through life and has bound and chained itself in the prison of matter. Therefore, the highest consciousness possible to man in the world is a mind which is subject to the limitations of life and matter and cannot escape from their stifling grasp. Then the ascetic solution of escape from life and world is justified. But if spirit is the creator of the world and not mind, the situation is something else. The spiritual and divine realization, while still man remains in the world, is not only possible but inevitable. That's what he's saying in the previous para. Now we go to the supramental. So, a supramental being would be very possible even on earth, he's saying. Such a supramental being would, as we have seen, liberate the mind from the knot of its divided existence and use the individualization of mind as merely a useful, subordinate action of the all-embracing supermind. And he would liberate the life also from the knot of its divided existence and use the individualization of life as merely a useful subordinate action of the one conscious force, fulfilling its being and joy in a diversified unity. Is there any reason why he should not also liberate the bodily existence from the present law of death, division and mutual devouring, and use individualization of body as merely a useful subordinate term of the one divine conscious existence, made serviceable for the joy of the infinite in the finite? Or why the spirit should not be free in a sovereign occupation of form, consciously immortal even in the changing of his robe of matter, possessed in his self-delight, in a world subjected to the law of unity and love and beauty? Question again, he is questioning. And if man be the inhabitant of terrestrial existence, through whom that transformation of the mental into the supramental can at last be operated, is it not possible that he may develop, as well as a divine mind and a divine life, also a divine body? Or, if the phrase seemed to be too startling to our present limited conceptions of human potentiality, may he not, in his development of his true being and its light and joy and power, arrive at a divine use of mind and life and body, by which the descent of spirit into form shall be at once humanly and divinely justified. Basically, he is asking that so many yogis have transformed their mind, so many yogis have transformed their vital. Why can't we transform the body also? The body also should be transformed. But until now it has not been done because you have not developed sufficient power to go down to the lowest level. That's what he has said. And last time we discussed that we use the image of the sea. Okay, the sea, as it keeps going down, becomes denser and denser and darker. So if you want to go down 10 meters, you can use a 1000-watt bulb. Enough power is there. But if you want to go down 1 mile, a 1000-watt bulb won't do, it won't go down. So you have to go even a higher power. You have to use 5000-watt bulb, which means you have to go higher up in consciousness to get that power. So only the supramental will be able to reach up to the lowest level of matter and transform it. So you have to go to the supermind and do it. But if you remain in the spiritual planes of consciousness, the power available to transform matter is not available there. That's basically what he's saying. Okay, so shall we go back for language to the beginning?
I guess so.
Yeah, because idea is okay, but we must also understand his language. That's very important. So, such a supramental being. So, he has told you that it is not only possible but inevitable. It will happen in the course of the evolution. Such a supramental being would, as we have seen, liberate the mind from the knot of its divided existence and use the individualization of mind as merely a useful subordinate action of the all-embracing supermind. We'll stop here. What exactly is he saying? He is saying that the supramental being would be able to liberate mind. Liberate it from what? Liberate it from its dependence and slavery to division. That's what he's saying. In other words, when you can liberate the mind from its division, you see that there is a oneness everywhere and you are part of the oneness. And the oneness is expressed in two ways. You see everybody in yourself, not only everybody but everything is in yourself, or you see yourself in everybody else. Okay? Different people have different experiences of cosmic consciousness. Some people feel that they are in others, and some feel that everybody else is in me. Okay, but Srivto says you must have both. He uses the words apprehensive and comprehensive consciousness. It must be apprehensive as well as comprehensive. Comprehensive includes everything, and apprehensive, he goes into each thing. Apprehend, catch each thing individually. Okay, so he's saying that should be and also use, now interesting, and use the individualization of mind as merely a useful subordinate action of the all-embracing supermind. If he is at the supermental level, why should he not use the supermind alone? Why should he use the individualized mind? Is a question. But he can use it simply as a extra convenience. That's what Srinath is saying. Okay, it's convenient also because you have to use the language of what others will understand. Okay, so you have to use that capacity of mind. You have to use it. So then he's saying the same thing about the life. Okay, and he would liberate the life also from the knot of its divided existence. What does it mean to divide the life from the knot of its divided existence? Life is a vital, so it is subject to ego, desire, attachments. So if it is liberated, the vital will not be subject to ego and attachments and desires. It will be free of that. Very specific. Okay? So that's what he's saying. And if that can be done, he would still use the energy available in the body. He would continue to eat, he would continue to sleep, he will use it as an extra convenience. That's all, in the physical world. Okay? So, and he would liberate the life also from the knot of its divided existence and use the individualization of life. Individualization of life is clear. He has the universal prana available to him. But he's still using the energy in the body. That's what it means. As merely a useful subordinate action of the one conscious force, fulfilling its being and joy in a diversified unity. He is not limited to the vital, but he can use it to communicate with the others in the physical world and do his work. Okay, so is there any reason why he should not also liberate the bodily existence from the present law of death? So, when you are releasing the mind, it is not subject to ignorance and division. When you are liberating the vital, it is not subject to ego, desire, attachments. So when you are liberating the body, what are you liberating it from? Death, disease. These things will be absent. Okay, that's what he's saying. Is there any reason why he should not liberate the bodily existence from the present law of death, division, mutual devouring, okay, and use individualization of body as merely a useful subordinate term for the one divine conscious existence made serviceable for the joy of the infinite in the finite? Even when you are in your body, the supramental being will enjoy the infinite existence and the ananda. That's what he's saying. Okay? Or why the spirit should not be free in a sovereign occupation of form. Okay? Occupation of form is the body. So, sovereign occupation. The word sovereign is interesting because sovereign means you are under nobody's jurisdiction. Okay? India under the British was not a sovereign power. When it became independent, it became sovereign power. That means nobody has power over it. So, the sovereign occupation of form. You are occupying the form and you are master of the form yourself. Nobody can control that. The word sovereign is very interesting. Sri Aurobindo uses very often. Okay? So, sovereign occupation of form, consciously immortal, even in the changing of his robe of matter. There you are. Okay? Consciously immortal, even when you are taking one body and another body and all that, or when you have the supramental body, it will be a body of very subtle matter, okay? But it will be matter. That's the interesting point. It won't be, Mother is telling Puraniji once that, no, was it Purani or somebody else? No, it was somebody else. She's saying, Purani had passed away by then. But obviously he was with Sri Aurobindo. So Mother is saying, I can see Purani with Sri Aurobindo playing with the supramental substance. So, these are all special souls. Okay? It's interesting because Puraniji was, from the normal point of view, he had plenty of defects. Okay? Plenty of defects. We used to see him. Highly excitable. Okay? He used to get angry also very easily. And I won't go into too many details, but very limited in many ways. In fact, there is one letter of Sri Aurobindo's, 2.5 pages, where he is very, very caustic. It's addressed to Puraniji. But when he came to learn bomb making from Sri Aurobindo in 1920, Sri Aurobindo said, you forget bomb making and come and do yoga. He invited him to come. So a special soul, like he called so many others also. Okay? Kanaida. Kanaida was our French teacher. He was also called Rajangam. And the word, Sri Aurobindo used the word, yoke him. Bring him here. Put the yoke on him and bring him here. Okay? So these are special souls. So he is playing with the supramental substance. So in the changing of his robe of matter. Robe of matter is, at our level, it is flesh and bone and marrow. But in the supramental being, it will be subtle matter. Okay? Robe of matter. Then, possessed of his self-delight. Now, possessed of his self-delight. Okay? He's also used the word possess. Possess, again, very similar to sovereign. When you possess something, you are master of it. No? And something else possesses you, you are subject to that. So, this is, he says you must possess the divine and the divine must possess you. So possession is a word. He constantly uses that. Mastery over something. Okay? In a world subjected to the law of unity and love and beauty, why can't it be done? That's what he's asking. And if man be the inhabitant of terrestrial existence, through whom the transformation of the mental into the supramental can at last be operated, is it not possible that he may develop, as well as a divine mind and a divine life, also a divine body? Or, if the phrase seem to be too startling to our present limited conceptions of human potentiality, may he not, in his development of his true being and its light and joy and power, arrive at a divine use of mind and life and body, by which the descent of spirit into form shall be at once humanly and divinely justified? So, if it is humanly and divinely justified, it can only be an avatar. No? Because the avatar is the one who has a human part and a divine part. So that's what he's asking. And he's saying, here he's saying if it is too drastic to imagine a supramental body, he's saying can't he use the body? Actually, the body will be transformed entirely, because in the last writing, I told you, I think last time, the supramental manifestation upon earth, he has described the features of the supramental body. There will be no organs. All the functions of the organs will be replaced by chakras, the 7 chakras. Okay? There will be no need to eat, no need to sleep. You will be able to create your own body, Swayambhu, just like Brahman. Okay? And you will be able to also dissolve that body if the purpose of your embodiment is over in the physical world. You can take another body in another place you can go to. So, this is what he is saying. So, should it not be possible? Here he is only asking a question, but in many other places, he says it is certain to happen. Here, this style is taking you by the hand and saying, look, these laws already exist. Is it not possible? He is suggesting to you. So, we read the last para of the chapter. Now, that's interesting. The one thing that can stand in the way of that ultimate terrestrial possibility is if our present view of matter and its laws represent the only possible relation between sense and substance, between the divine as knower and the divine as object. Or if other relations being possible, they are yet not in any way possible here, but must be sought on higher planes of existence. That's the only possibility. In other words, he is saying that if the laws that operate in the physical world are permanent, then there is no other way but you have to go up. But can the laws be changed? That's the whole question. This idea he repeats in many, many places. What the ascetic is saying, that imperfection in the physical world is permanent. He is not using the word imperfection, he is saying relation between sense and object cannot be changed. The relation between our sense and object is several. First of all, division is there. Secondly, our senses are limited. So, is that the only way you can see matter and other things in the physical world, or is it possible to change? That's what he's saying. But we know that spiritual experience gives you the power of other instruments of knowledge. First of all, you can have subtle senses. Then you can have sight, which is different. That's another instrument of knowledge. Intuition, and finally identification. These are the instruments of knowledge which change your perception of the physical world. So he's saying, is it possible to change the perception? If it is not, then the ascetic solution is the only one. Okay? In that case, it is in heavens beyond that we must seek our entire divine fulfillment, as the religions assert. And their other assertion of the kingdom of God or the kingdom of the perfect upon earth must be put aside as a delusion. Not possible, only a vague idea. Here, we can only pursue or attain an internal preparation or victory, and having liberated the mind and life and soul within, note he is eliminating the body. okay, mind, life and soul within, must turn from the unconquered and unconquerable material principle, from an unregenerated and intractable earth, to find elsewhere our divine substance. On earth, not possible, so you have to go elsewhere. If the relation between sense and the earth, what you see, is not changeable. Okay? There is, however, no reason why we should accept this limiting conclusion. There are quite certainly other states even of matter itself. There is undoubtedly an ascending series of divine gradations of substance. There is the possibility of a material being transfiguring itself through the acceptation of a higher law than its own, which is yet its own because it is always there, latent and potential in its secrecies. Is matter as we see it permanent, or can there be different states of matter? So, naturally the next chapter will be the ascending series of substance. There is a gross substance, there is a subtler substance, there is even subtler substance, there is subtlest of substance. So, if these gradations are there and there is a connection between them, then it should be possible to bring down that here. That's what he's saying. So, that's the next chapter, the ascending series of substance. And then that ascending series, in the next chapter, he will divide into 7 planes of consciousness. 7 planes. He is going systematically one by one. Okay? The one thing that can stand in the way of that ultimate terrestrial possibility, which is the ultimate terrestrial possibility? A divinization of matter. Okay? Is if our present view of matter, that means present view of matter as we are seeing it at present with our limited senses. That's what it means. Okay? And laws. Present view of matter and its laws represent the only possible relation between sense and substance. The substance in the physical world and our senses, the limited senses, is that the only way we can perceive substance? In other words, can we see the physical world in any other way than we are seeing now? That's what he's saying. Okay? So, between the divine as knower and the divine as object. Okay? Or if other relations being possible, they are yet not in any way possible here. That I think we need to discuss that a little bit, between the divine as knower and the divine as object. At the highest level, divine knower and divine object, there is a different relationship because the division disappears, ignorance disappears, okay? Death disappears, all these things disappear. So there are different ways of viewing substance. But if on earth, this is the only way you can perceive substance, even if it is divine. Okay, that's what it means. Even with a divinized life, is it possible to see matter as it is here in a different way than our present senses? If you can't, we have to go up. If you can, that's what I will discuss in the next chapter. That's what he's saying. Okay? So, the divine as knower and the divine as object, or if other relations being possible, they are yet not in any way possible here. It's possible for me to see matter in a different way from higher up. On the ground floor, can I see as the divine would see from the 7th floor? Or if the divine comes down to the ground floor, is he bound to see in this particular law which is unchanging, sense and substance, the relation is the same? That's what he's saying. Relation between sense and substance is clear. Our senses are limited and we are seeing it as separate, and we are seeing it as gross, and we are seeing it as real, and we are seeing it as many. Is that the only way we can see, or is there something else? That's what he's saying. Okay? And he's saying it's possible to maybe see another way, but you have to go up for that. From there you can see differently. But here you can't. Okay? So, or or if other relations being possible, they are yet not in any way possible here, but must be sought on higher planes of existence. That's the only problem, he's saying. In that case, it is in heavens beyond that we must seek our entire divine fulfillment, as the religions assert. And their other assertion of the kingdom of heaven or the kingdom of the perfect upon earth must be put aside as a delusion. This is in India also we have the concept Ramarajyam will come one day, okay? Or in Christianity you have the kingdom come, the last day when all the souls will be judged, okay? So if that, then that is a chimera. It's a delusion. You have to dismiss it. Then what's he saying after that? He's saying here we can only pursue or attain an internal preparation or victory, and having liberated the mind and life and soul within, as I told you, he is not including the body, because the body, you are seeing it only in the way we are seeing now, must turn from the unconquered and unconquerable material principle. That's what the ascetic is saying. It is impossible to conquer matter and see it in a different way. Unconquerable material principle, from an unregenerated and intractable earth, to find elsewhere our divine substance. Divine substance is there, but not available here. You have to go up. There is, however, no reason why we should accept this limiting conclusion. There are quite certainly categorical, quite certainly, other states even of matter itself. Just like the example we give all the time, ice, water, water vapor, okay? Or clouds, it is subtle substance, or even air, it is material but very subtle. So why should not these things be there? Even fire is a subtle substance, it is substance but different. So, there is, however, no reason why we should accept this limited conclusion. There are quite certainly other states even of matter itself. There is undoubtedly an ascending series of the divine gradations of substance. There is the possibility of the material being transfiguring itself through the acceptation of a higher law than its own, which is yet its own, because it is always there latent and potential in its own secrecies. The last sentence means even matter, it may look very gross and very unconscious, but the supermind is even there inside. It is inherent in it. And that's why it's possible to develop it. Just like the tree is available in the seed, it is there, but you don't see it. Given the right conditions, it will flower, it will produce a tree. So here also the right conditions have to come. Okay? That concludes this, the not of matter. So he is arguing against the ascetic, but at the same time he is saying that I can understand that the ascetic is under great pressure to reject matter, because it is so almost seems to be the opposite of spirit.
I just wanted to mention, today I was watching the Olympics gymnastics.
Yes.
On the video.
Yes.
And I thought that kind of training, that will not bring about the changes that Aurobindo is envisaging.
No. That is, at the physical level only, your skills are improving.
You know, like even I was reading today on himself, the book, Aurobindo is talking about the supramental manifestation and the change of the body being supramentalized. And I think one of the disciples was asking, all the sports in the ashram, is it going to lead to that? And Aurobindo says, no, all of that is just a preparation. All the sports and everything, it's just a preparation. The supramentalization can only come with, not through physical activities.
Yeah, it is at the same level. The possibilities of matter are becoming more and more possible. The possibilities are becoming explicit. But it is still matter. What they are doing is still matter. That matter itself will change. That's what he's saying.
So I can see that it's for the participants' progress, but a person who would eventually receive the supramental, that kind of preparation would not be necessary in them.
No, it's a question of the consciousness. It's a question of the consciousness changing. The consciousness would have the power to change the matter. Okay, that's exactly what a yogi is doing. When Srindo's consciousness is rising, he is bringing that higher consciousness down into the body, and even the body is changing. First of all, your mental substance will change. Mental substance is much subtler than your vital substance and physical substance. That mental substance changes, it becomes clear. This is very clearly put in the Jain philosophy. They very speak of it. Everything is Pudgal. Okay? Body is matter, gross matter. Life is subtler matter. So this is all matter. And there is dirt also there. So you have to clear up all that. And then it becomes clear like pure transparent water. So the mind, when it is full of cloudy substance, that has to be cleared. That is the ignorance, then is clear. So exactly in the same way, the vital also has to become pure, but the body will also become, it will lose its grossness.
Well, we know, we have seen, I have a photo at home that really shows Aurobindo close up, and I feel that something of that glow is visible around his head. So we know that his people who saw him, at least some of them, they said that they saw a golden...
That was when he passed away.
So there was a change in that respect, but I think it didn't give his body more capacities. No,
his body was golden. Some people saw the body golden. The subtle body was fully golden.
Listen, did his heart disappear? Did his kidneys disappear? Did his lungs disappear?
No,
It didn't. It's a biological body. But the supramental body will not be a biological body. It will not be. It will be a divine body. It will not need to sleep. It will not need to eat. It will not need to be subject to distance, time and space.
It's expected to manifest separately, not come and change this, I think. It will just manifest
But that manifestation will depend on the preparation of this body as well, I feel. What do you say?
The conditions have to be made right, because our body is not going to become changed. Even Sriramda did not change his body.
Progressively, as we move forward in evolution, right now what my body or your body is right now, through evolution, the body will get subtle and subtle and subtle, depending on how we change ourselves, basically.
When the power of the supermind descends into matter, the conditions will be changed. In fact, they are changed now already. Okay, and you can see fantastic development in mind and even vital in children nowadays. You can see, but the body transformation has not yet come. The body transformation will be a totally different thing.
And the vital as well. Vital also is...
Oh yes, what about the arts? What you are speaking about, really, I also feel that. Marvelous things they are doing in gymnastics. Unbelievable. What you would never have thought before. Jumping up and taking 5 turns in the air and dropping down perfectly. It's unbelievable. So it is excellence at that level only, not any other level.
Because when Mother was working in the cells, she was all bent over and all that. It wasn't... and Aurobindo, he never reached that level of working in the cells, perhaps, that Mother did.
We can't say. There's not enough evidence of that.
He has mentioned that in his poems. So, he has mentioned the word cells and even
the cells.
Atoms sometimes in his poetry. So,
Even
how could he do that without experiencing them?
And of course, like in the subtle body, he has done it as well. Both mother and
Now,
children.
it's an interesting discussion. I was going to mention it. Okay, what do you mean by transforming the body? Okay, now, when you are transforming your mind, it is very clear. Okay, that the ignorance disappears, the sense of division disappears, the substance becomes clear. Exactly in the same way, the vital also become clear. What do you mean by changing that at the physical level? See, you have grown from matter, okay? You were an atom first, and then you have got all the problems of matter, and then you have come to life. But life also has got all the problems of matter dragging in it. When you come to the mind level also, you are still dragging the problems of life with you. Now at this mental level, you escape from there. So now the problems of matter, you are not dragging. You have taken your consciousness out. But when you want to transform matter itself, all the problems which arose from that level have to be conquered. Now, let me tell you, it's very interesting because this is discussed, okay? Mother discusses this. Don't we have, when there is division, there is anxiety and fear. Okay? When there is division, anxiety and fear. It's an imperfection. Is that anxiety and fear there even at the cell level? The answer is yes. So, her transformation of the cell includes the removal of fear and anxiety at that level, at cellular level. Can you imagine the work? It's unbelievable. That is what is meant by the...
Some people are barely conscious of fear and anxiety at a psychological level.
Exactly.
They're not even aware
Exactly.
that they're influenced by it. But she went to the very...
That is what work she was doing. And that's why George, what's his name? Brackham. George Brackham says that he feels that the work has been done up to the subtle body level, but not the physical level. So she has done tremendous work. And this work is not going to go waste. It is there, waiting to become...
But yeah, like there were a lot of resistances.
Pardon?
I mean, our consciousness was not prepared to receive it at the
Absolutely.
physical level.
That's what he says. In many, many places he says that.
Like right now, like I'm thinking of that time, when mother, she was completely on bed and everything. She said, don't give me any medicine. She was completely against it.
Yeah.
But yet, we did it. And she allowed it because she knows that these people are not ready to understand
Yes.
that they see the people around saw suffering in her, but mother was not suffering.
See, there's another thing. That's correct what you're saying. At the same time, if I see mother suffering, am I going to apply divine laws or am I going to apply my own laws? How will I not suffer to see her groaning? Okay? So they have to do what they understand best. You can't blame them. And in fact, that's what mother told about Pranudha. She says that I can't do without him. He has to be there. And yet he was one of the main problems. He used to insist on her eating. And she said, I don't want to eat. My condition is such that food is not necessary for me. But she had to eat. In other words, it only means the difficulty of transforming matter. That's all it means. Fantastic. That was the work she was doing. Transforming the body at the material level.
But mother has finished, no?
Huh?
Mother has finished that work, no? Full transformation.
No, where is the supramental body? Supramental body is not there yet in the physical world. That's why I tell you, it is very interesting. People like Amal Kiran, and they could not accept because they felt that the supramental body will be done, transformation will take place. But Nolida was the only one who is spiritual realism. He said the work of transformation has been postponed. He was the only one who had the courage to say that. Amal and all could not accept. Yeah. There is another way of looking at it, okay? I'll take a very simple example, okay? Leonardo da Vinci in 14 or 15 or something at the Renaissance period in Europe had conceived of flight, heavier than air machine, flight in air, okay? He had conceived. Could it become a reality? No. Why? Because the world conditions were not ready. And what do you mean by world conditions? We did not know the law of aeronautics. We did not have materials which are there. That is, the world conditions were not ready. Today, at present, the world conditions are not ready for a supramental body. But it will be ready tomorrow. That's why it couldn't be done. But that doesn't mean to say that the attempt won't be there. And that's what they were doing. Take the work 3 steps more forward towards its goal. That's what she did. That's what they have done. And anyway, they had promised that they would do the work, and they did bring down the supramental. That was a huge work.
And one thing is notable in the chapter on rebirth. The last sentence clearly says that the true immortality will always be the immortality of the spirit.
Yeah.
If you even have a body which you can leave at will or be plastic or whatever, it does not mean that you are condemned to be in that body forever.
Yeah.
And the true immortality will always be the immortality of the spirit. So sometimes in the discussion of physical transformation, people forget that the first thing that they have to realize that they are the one which is never born and which will never die.
Yes, exactly.
And to live in that constantly.
You become that.
Yeah.
Amritaste bhavanti. Brahma bhuta Gita says. So you have to become the Brahman first.
And that presence is in the cells, but most people are not aware of it.
Oh, most people, 99.9.
And which is why things like self-realization and all, they are not ordinary things.
Exactly. In fact, when somebody wrote to Aurobindo saying, the other yogas are stopping at the self, at the spiritual level. But our yoga starts at that level. Okay? So Aurobindo says, wait. Don't be so judgmental. You think it's a small matter to get the self? So, that sense of superiority and something that should not be there at all. Okay? And that is why Aurobindo has been sometimes misinterpreted also. He is misinterpreted.
I was reading today,
Actually, he says this about his nirvana experience, that basically he was fast-tracked.
Yeah.
He says it was the grace of the eternal Brahman and Mahakali. I think he also says Krishna. But so that thing had been done by hundreds of yogis before, and he being the divine himself, let's put it that way, he didn't want to waste time doing the same thing over 30 years. So it was fast-tracked.
That's
But
right.
it had to, and then therefore he could start on the supramental adventure,
Yeah.
you can say. But that was a special case.
But I have wondered if there's any progress possible in the subtle physical. I have read that Aurobindo is there in a golden body. But are they progressing? And people like Purani and all that, have they, when they passed away, have they gone into the subtle physical and are with him? I wonder.
What do you mean by progress? Do you mean that it is becoming more dense?
What do you mean by
I
physical progress?
I want to know if, because we know they're in the subtle physical. So are they progressing there? Or we have to wait till mother comes back in a physical body for the thing to go on?
No, there is no progress in the other levels. They are all typal worlds. There is no progress there. The progress is only here. And that's very simple, because this is the only place where there is movement, where force is active. The other worlds are all static worlds. There is no evolution there in the other worlds.
And to your question, Mother and Aurobindo are working at the most physical level as well, not only...
That is one way of saying, but it's also true, and Aurobindo says that there can be progress in the subtle world also. He says in one place. Why not? He says. So, it's possible that more preparation can be there. But the transformation, you have to come down to the physical only. The final thing, you have to come down to the physical world.